Greetings everybody, today I have stink beans. I'm excited about this one because I really like stink beans. I know, it's a controversial topic, but stink beans are called stink beans because they stink. Another name for it is Petai. This is something that you can find sometimes in the United States if you go to an Asian supermarket, but it's going to be in the frozen food section, not the fresh section. I don't believe that this thing is cleared to be imported into the US because I have never seen it. Years ago, I saw a reality TV show that followed Malaysian TSA, and they pull someone aside because their bag was full of these and they were trying to take them out of the country illegally. This is the sort of thing that people will commit a crime for because some people really love this thing. Other people really hate this thing, and me, I'm kind of in the middle. You know, I lean more towards love, but it is so strong and so funky that I kind of like tap out after eating, a handful of these guys. So let's not waste any more time. I'm gonna break into this thing and try one of these raw. You can eat them raw, as far as I know, but typically they are cooked. So once you take the outer pod off, you're left with a white bean, but there is another little membrane here. So we're gonna try to strip that out. And inside you have this little green guy. That is what you're looking for. Eating these raw is a bit much. It's a bit much. It's pretty funky, and it's funky like garlic, but like fermented garlic, something like that, like garlic that's gone bad, but in a good way. It's maybe a little bit sulfuric, a little eggy, I guess, but not exactly. And it also has like a soybean sort of thing, like an edamame sort of taste to it. Wow. Cooking these is how I would prefer it and how most people prefer it. So these are typically, boiled, or you can stir fry them. For me, I think my preferred way is to go a step further and not make these the focus of the dish, but a condiment in a dish. So I like to take these and put them in like a fried rice or like a fried noodle or something like that, because it has such a strong taste to it that when you put it in something like that, it adds like this garlicky funkiness to what you're cooking, and I like that. So let's cook it. So this here is stink bean. I'm surprised to see how big the trees are. I didn't realize they were that big. And if you're wondering what stink bean trees smell like, let's find out. The tree itself does not smell. In case you were wondering, I was. Okay, so I separated the beans from 2 stink bean pods and I cut them in half. That way when you're eating your stink bean fried rice, which is what I'm making, you're not gonna get too many stink beans per mouthful, okay? And for fried rice, we also need rice. I don't know how much this is. I just ordered some from a restaurant here, and they gave me that. So I don't know. It's probably like a cup of dried rice, maybe a cup and a half of dried rice cooked. And we've got some other stuff. I've got 2 eggs. I've got 1 really big shallot. I think that's what that is. I've got 2 garlic cloves and 1 chili pod. I also have some soy sauce over there and some cooking oil over here. Never mind that, that's something else. A little bit of oil. In go the shallots. These have sweated, so it's time to add the chili. Diced. Doing this all one-handed, so bear with me. That's starting to sweat also, so in goes the garlic. And the stink bean. Yes. Okay, these have cooked for about 30 seconds, so we're gonna go with egg. I scrambled it lightly. I'm just gonna pour it on the side here so it could cook a little bit. Once it is about halfway cooked, like so, I'm gonna mix it in with everything else. Doing this one-handed is not easy. Next, the rice. There we go. Beautiful. And I'm going to just mush this all up together. If you're about to leave a comment saying, "What do you know about making fried rice?" That's not how you make fried rice. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious. So I've managed to break it all up the hard way. Probably should have done that with 2 hands, but whatever. So I'm going to add some soy sauce to this. It's the only seasoning I really have right now. And mix this up. Yeah, don't pay attention to all that mess over there. Looks actually pretty good, smells good. Let's give it a taste. All right, so we got a nice spoonful. You can see a couple little stink beans in there. Yes, that is good. That's how I like it. I think 1 stink bean per mouthful is a good way to go. Like, I don't want it to be overwhelmed with the stink bean flavor, but the stink bean flavor does go well with these sorts of things. I think it goes really well with eggs. It goes really well with like garlicky things, oniony things, shalloty things, things that are going to kind of like get you in the nose. In this sort of application where you have these sorts of mildly funky things, the stink bean just kind of like elevates them. So I like this. I like this a lot. So I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey, those beans, not stinky enough. Make the beans stinkier. You are a very interesting individual. But yeah, I have some stinkier beans, everybody. This is something that was kindly sent to me by Year of the Durian. Lindsay over at Year of the Durian likes to send me things in the mail sometimes that have an aroma to it. A lot of durians. She has a lot of durians for sale on her website. And this is something she does not sell, but when she saw it, she thought of me, and I'm not sure how to feel about that. So she sent me a jar of this in the mail, and I believe she picked this up somewhere in Southeast Asia. I've seen this before. I remember seeing this in Thailand not too long ago. They might have fresh stink beans and then maybe a jar of fermented stink beans. That's what this is. And these extra stinky stink beans are deceptively inside a jar of Choco Nutty. So if you're wondering what's inside this jar, it is hazelnut, cashew nuts, raw cacao, coconut oil, sugar, and pink salt. This sounds delicious. I'm excited. Let's open it up. All right. First, let's give it a smell. It's pretty stinky. It's pretty stinky. Oh, all right. The smell on that is stink bean. Definitely smells like stink bean, regular straight up stink bean, but a little cheesy smelling too, like stink bean with Parmesan. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about this, like legitimately, because I like stink beans. I think stink beans are good. I don't just chow down on them, but I like using them in cooking when I have the opportunity. And I'm worried that if this gives me a negative experience from like this, I've gone too far, gotten too stinky, then it might make it more difficult for me to enjoy stink beans in the future. But all the same, I am intrigued by just how stinky a stink bean can be. Okay, I probably should be wearing gloves, or use a spoon, I guess, but here we go, that's fine. And as established, it has a membrane on it, so let's peel that off, just in case that is not meant to be eaten. I don't really know. All right, and I know that everybody will be upset if I don't just go to town on this with an entire bean. So I'm tempted to take a nibble, but let's just go for it, guys. Let's go. It's good. It's good. I wasn't expecting that. It's pickled, so it has the flavor of the stink bean, but also a nice pickly brine sort of thing going on. But it is different. It is different because it has this little extra level of brine flavor, like that little vinegary taste, a little salty taste. That actually brings the funk down a bit, but it also has a bit of a fermented taste to it. So I wouldn't say that this is necessarily too much. Wouldn't be too much. Lindsay kind of warned me about it, like this might kind of kick it up a notch. And it does in a way because of that additional fermenty kind of taste, but not in a way that's like overwhelming. Not in a way that's overwhelming. I don't think I would eat this any quicker than the straight up raw stink bean. I think this still is something to be used, not to be eaten out of hand. But yeah, it's all right. It's all right. As far as any kind of additional flavor, because of that brininess and everything, this makes me think of a lupini bean. Ever have a lupini bean? They're delicious. And those are also, I think, brined. And that is maybe why I'm making that comparison. This is like a stinky lupini bean. That's not a bad thing. So I think that's about it. Stink beans. I think they are a good thing. All across the board, they are a good thing. I prefer not to like overindulge in my stink beans, but to be used sparingly for me is really good. And I think that if you haven't had a stink bean and you are given the opportunity to try a stink bean in any of its forms, give it a try. You might like it. You might like it. You might not. Probably won't. But you might like it. And it's definitely a challenging one, but it's one that when you get the appreciation for it, it's got its uses. It'd be a fun one to play with cooking. You know, it's a whole other world of flavor that doesn't get seen so much throughout the world. So yeah, funky things can be good things. All right, see you all next time. Bye, everybody. I would like to give a big shout out to Smarter Every Day, Loftyrex, and JMac. They are mega patrons over on Patreon.com. Patreon, I'm sure you've heard about it, but basically it is how I can afford to go on all the adventures that I go on this channel and how I buy all the fruit that I buy. So if you are interested in supporting the channel, check out the link in the description below. Another way to help out is by going to my website. My website has all my videos organized into categories, which is pretty cool, and I also have t-shirts for sale over there. So check it out, and I will see you all next time.